Most of the statues were a mystery to me, but I recognized the odd face. There was Zephyrus, the god of slight breezes, and Lamentatio, the goddess of interminable opera. I thought I could see FedEx, messenger of the gods, in one corner. Religious emblems were scattered throughout the place. The sacred lace of Hyperopia, the goddess of shoes. The holy trolley of Mr. Safeway. The blessed chamber pot of the whinging martyrs of Constipata. Anything could become a sacred relic if you weren't careful enough.
I was drawn to Mooncalf by his religious fervor. He was the kind of man who wouldn't miss a single event in the temple, no matter how trivial. He also struck me as the kind of fanatic who knew 100 words for infidel.
Behind Mooncalf was a beautiful stained glass window depicting Morphine, the angel of dreams, passing the recipe for the Discworld's first pizza to a mortal. If I strained, I thought I could just about see a bay leaf on the pizza.
You with the hat. Have you accepted Anu Anu into your heart?
The name isn't you with the hat, it's Luton. And no, I haven't accepted Anu Anu into my heart. Why should I?
For it is written in the book of Kelpie, he who has not the spirit of Anu Anu in his heart shall have his heart eaten by the Divine One on the day of judgment.
I'll take that chance.
Oh, you may mock, infidel, but the day of judgment is coming, mark my words. The signs are clear, the omens are unquestionable, the stars are right and the auguries are undeniable.
What about the auspices?
The auspices are fair to light with a small chance of judgment day later in the eon.
I think you're taking the auspice. So, here I am, a fresh punter. Why should I choose your religion over anyone else's?
Because Anu Anu is the true god of gods, more mighty and strong than all the others put together.
About half the gods in this temple alone claim to be the true god of gods.
But Anu Anu reveals himself through his divine miracles.
Such as?
Ever looked at your thumb? Ever really thought about it? Ever considered what you couldn't do if you didn't have a thumb?
Anu Anu is the god of thumbs?
No, but Anu Anu bites away the thumbs of the non-believer.
I'm not convinced. Anything else?
Join the cult of Anu Anu now to receive a free faux pearl statuette of the great god Anu Anu, a $90 value, absolutely free. Be the envy of your friends as they roast in the fires of Sogorop.
Thanks, but I'll pass. Did your church buy that window?
We are not a church, we're a cult.
What's the difference?
Demographics. Churches appeal to the high society element. Good for funding, but bad for grassroots support. Now your average cult has much more of a street-level membership. Not so much money, but easier to get things done.
Well, did your cult buy that window?
No. It was purchased by the eternal seers of Revelation Joe many years ago. It depicts the moment when the divine prophet was given the recipe for pizza by the Creator.
How come you're working in front of it?
The eternal seers ran out of support decades ago.
It figures. So what is Anu Anu the god of?
Anu Anu is above being bound to one single concept or idea. He is power incarnate.
Come on, level with me. What is he the god of?
It's not to be discussed with non-believers.
So this is less of a religion and more of a lucky dip.
Oh, I feel sorry for you on Judgment Day.
Now let me get this straight. The eternal seers of Revelation Joe worshipped pizza.
No, my child. The legends say that the first pizza was created by the Klatchian mystic Ronron Revelation Joe Sawadi, who claimed to have been given the recipe in a dream by the creator of the Discworld himself. Allegedly, the creator said that the pizza was what he had intended all along. Those who have seen the original say that what the creator had in mind was a small cheese and pepperoni affair, with a few black olives, and things like mountains and seas got added out of last-minute enthusiasm, as so often happens.
So who were the Eternal Seers?
The survivors of the schism of the Turnwise Ones and the resulting Grand Jihad.
Grand Jihad?
Yes. After the deaths of some 25,000 people, the faithful were allowed to add one small bay leaf to the recipe.
So is this divine figure in the window the creator?
Oh no. It is blasphemy for any to depict the rat face of the creator.
Because of his divine stature?
No. Because it is clear that world creation is not a divine act, but a rather straightforward mechanical function. Hence, to praise the creator would be blasphemy.
How does the creator feel about that?
He seems content. He's had some success with his design, apparently. The details are sketchy.
You keep mentioning Judgment Day. What do you mean?
Mark my words, it's coming. Darkness and evil shall descend on this city, and fetid corruption shall consume the very souls of the unbelievers. Only the followers of Anu Anu shall be saved.
Darkness and evil? How exactly are we going to tell Judgment Day from any other day in Ankh-Morpork?
By the time you realize what's going on, it shall be too late.
It generally is. I asked Mooncalf where he was when the murder took place, and he told me he was holding a sermon. I couldn't exactly slip the fact that Carlotta was a werewolf into casual conversation. I asked Mooncalf where he was when Mundy was murdered. He seemed to take it in his stride. Perhaps religious fanatics are used to being suspects in murder investigations.
I was holding a service at that time.
Where?
Here, in the sanctum of the Temple of Small Gods.
So you have witnesses.
But of course, my entire congregation saw me give a glorious sermon in honor of Anu Anu.
So you can give me the names of some of your congregation to back up your alibi.
Betray the confidence of my flock? You must think me shallow of faith, Luton, to propose such a barbaric plan of action.
Shall I take that as a no, then? What do you know about a dwarf named Al-Khali?
My time belongs to the god Anu Anu, and I'd thank you not to waste it.
I'd found a list of 8 names in the pendant. The name that stood out was Therma's. I wasn't about to reveal that I had the list to Mooncalf. I had a feeling that would be suicide. But perhaps I could use it to trap him. Someone told me that you know Therma.
Indeed. And who might that have been?
It's not important. Is she part of your cult?
No. No, she's not.
But you know her.
No. I've never met her.
I see. What about Satrap?
Are you intending to bore me with a list of people's names? I haven't time for this tomfoolery. I must preach the gospel of Anu Anu.
Thy kingdom Coom and all that.
Yes. Indeed.
I'd clearly unsettled him mentioning Coom. Now I just needed to sit back and watch what he got up to. Well, I'll be on my way.
I'll be here should you choose to repent. Did I tell you that we're giving away free tea towels to anyone who joins this week?
What was I going to do? Go for a swim? The cemetery at the Temple of Small Gods. This was the other side of the window behind Mooncalf. With my sharpened wolf senses, I could hear what Mooncalf was saying to the troll.
And I think we may have to do something about it. We will have a meeting of the true believers after this evening's sermon.
Sure thing, boss. You want I should go now?
No. You keep an eye on Luton if you can. I'll go back to the sanctuary and leave a message for the others.
You got it, boss.
I need your help again, Malaclips.
They'll all need my help sooner or later. They just don't know it yet.
Carlotta says she's a follower of Errata. Is that right?
Bah! I am the only true follower of Errata in the whole of Ankh-Morpork. Unless you have seen the light, Luton.
Seen the light?
Do you believe in the ways of Errata?
How could I not? Surely, Errata is the most worthy of all gods to follow.
Either you've just had a miraculous conversion or you're learning to lie. Good. A useful skill in followers of Errata.
I'd overheard something interesting at the window of the Temple of Small Gods. Something about a meeting of the true believers. I overheard Mooncalf talking about a meeting of the true believers. I'd really like to know what that was about.
It's tough to find out what the cult of Anu is up to.
Is there any way I could listen in to one of Mooncalf's sermons?
The sermons don't take place here. They hold them in the inner sanctum.
The inner sanctum?
It's the center of worship here in the Temple of Small Gods.
How come? I mean, there are a vast number of gods and goddesses that the temple has to provide for. Are you telling me they all have to share one room for the services?
Absolutely. High priests are always complaining that so-and-so was hogging the sanctum all morning, or that such and such left hair at the bottom of the holy font. It causes a lot of tension around the temple.
Can you get me in there? I'd like to have a look around.
I could arrange to have the sanctum for a while if I told them I had a follower, but I don't.
So if I agree to be your follower, you can get us into the inner sanctum?
Yes, I can. But you wouldn't really be my follower. The followers of Errata don't follow each other. We don't even follow Errata. We follow our own ways.
So why is there a Church of Errata at all?
You're learning, Luton. Keep thinking like that and you'll go far in the church.
So can you get me into the inner sanctum?
I can, provided we can find a time when the cult of Anu aren't there.
Are Mooncalf's lot in there often?
All the time. And that's not all either. He sneaks away after each one. I think they've got a secret sanctuary somewhere.
I'd like to find that.
Actually, I'd quite like you to find it too.
Can't resist a secret, eh?
No, I'd just like to get in the way of everything Mooncalf does. Him and his big evangelical budget and hordes of out-of-tune followers singing and chanting at all hours of the day. He's gonna get his comeuppance, and anything I can do to speed it up suits me fine.
So you'll help me?
Wait here. I'll go and make the arrangements.
It took a while, but eventually Malaclips got me into the inner sanctum. Malaclips stayed by the door to warn me if anyone was coming. The inner sanctum sported a beautiful lectern. The plaque said it was donated to the temple by Mr. Fedean, of the militant servitors of Ikebana, goddess of topiary. Searching, I discovered there was a cavity in the base of the lectern. The space under the lectern was large enough to fit a whole person inside. Unfortunately, there wasn't much room to move inside. To my embarrassment, I got stuck.
Luton! They're coming! Hide!
I'm way ahead of you, Malaclypse.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered together in the sight of our God, Anu Anu, to speak of our devotion to the Anointed One at this, our time of need. But before today's sermon, I'd like to read from the cult bulletin for a moment. Firstly, there's a jumble sale next Saturday to raise funds to buy a fresh goat to sacrifice. We'd appreciate it if as many cultists as possible could attend. We don't want to have to sacrifice another pigeon. It hardly befits a deity of the illustrious wonder of Anu Anu to be sacrificed another of Mrs. Jerboam's gerbils either. Yes, I know they breed like flies, but that's not the point.
The sermon was one of the most tedious things I'd ever had to listen to. And as if that wasn't bad enough, then the hymns started. Why the gods wanted to listen to such droning monotony was a mystery to me, but I suspected they just liked to make the mortals suffer. I sprayed Mooncap's feet with Sapphire's trawl perfume. That should make the little psychopath a little easier to follow. Sapphire's perfume cut through the stench of the river like a trawl wading through a dwarf street rally. The bright reek led into the shades, the oldest and most dangerous part of the city. As a wolf, I listened to what the so-called true believers were saying through one of the windows of the sanctuary.
Greetings, brethren. I call to order this extraordinary general meeting of the secret cabal of the true believers of Anu Anu.
You smell nice tonight, boss.
What?
What is that? KC2?
What are you blathering about, Foyd? Anyway, I see we're all present.
Therma not present, boss.
Therma has to keep a low profile at the moment. Do not concern yourselves with her absence.
Why should Therma have such special status? I have important business of my own to be doing, and these interruptions aid no one.
Quiet, satrap. Mooncalf wouldn't have called us together if it wasn't important.
Indeed not. There is an investigator, a Mr. Luton, who's been asking worrying questions. I think he may know about Nylonathotep.
I do now. I still say this is madness. There must be a better way to glorify our beloved Anu Anu without taking such risks.
You always were the spineless one, Coombe.
Silence, Kondo. As chairman, I will not permit such disputes when the meeting of true believers has just been called to order.
When can we have a dispute?
It can wait until we reach any other business.
Damn.
Shh! What is it?
I heard something outside.
They say bravery is what tells the men from the boys. Well, I was a wolf, so I figured I could be brave and still run away. The cultist sanctuary was deep in the shades. For some reason, the cultists had a map of Ankh-Morpork in the sanctuary. I couldn't easily take the map, but I could use it to work out some things. Closely examining the fresco, I could see that one of the symbols made a frequent appearance. The sanctuary was decorated with a strange and disturbing fresco. The recurring symbol on the fresco was like a distorted star with an eye in the center. I wasn't sure what it was. I made a sketch of the symbol in my notebook.
Who would Sir like to see this time?
I'd like to use the library again.
Very well. I will show Sir the way, since it seems the labyrinthine corridors of this vast edifice are beyond Sir's meager navigational skills.
I found the obscure star-like symbol in the Necrotelecomnicon discussed for students. It called it the sign of the eel, or the Elver sign. It was apparently a protective ward against some of the older, darker gods of the Discworld. The tome also explained how to inscribe one, the order of tracing being very important. Not that I believed any of this mumbo-jumbo, but hey, you can't afford to be too careful, right? The Necrotelecomnicon was a book that legend spoke of, saying that any mortal man who read it would be driven insane. I learnt about it from a copy of Necrotelecomnicon discussed for students with practical experiments that I found in the library. In this tome, there is a description of the old dark gods of the Disc, including the terrible laddering holler, Nylonathotep. Apparently, Nylonathotep was once summoned by a series of 8 murders, forming a perfect octagram, focused at the center of the Circle C, thus releasing it from the sunken city of Leshp, where he was trapped, along with drunken Cthulhu. The book speculated about the whereabouts of Nylonathotep now, but beyond him being safely imprisoned somewhere around the Circle C, it drew no conclusions. In the past, an octagram of murders had been involved in summoning Nylonathotep. In the past, an octagram